Well, hello class. This is the final chapter of our course, chapter 10, and it's about developing leaders. And why is this probably the most important chapter of any leadership story, let alone the book? Because developing leaders talks about creating a legacy and planning for successorship. Now let's talk about that a little bit. Some of the objectives that we're going to cover in this chapter that have to do with leadership development is going to be discussed, compared, and evaluated through the role of culture. Culture has a very strong part of leadership development. Do you remember early in the course when we asked questions, for example, like, are leaders born or are leaders made? Well, some are of the belief, like my co-author Ken Strong, that you need to be trained to be a leader. No one is born a leader. You go through a training program that is largely predicated by your environment, by the culture. And the role culture can play in leadership development really has to do with the significance and the impact of the leadership program itself. So we need to talk a little bit about the learning process. You know, everybody learns differently. So how do leaders learn? How do they learn about what they need to do in order to be successful in their careers? How much of what they are learning they retain and they actually use in their leadership development? And the thing is that there are advantages and disadvantages to some of the methods used in leadership development. You know, so for example, if you are in the Army in a platoon and you're talking to your platoon sergeant during boot camp, it's a lot different than if you're starting a new job at IBM. Some people respond very well to hard scrutiny and leadership development. Some people don't. And they need a different kind of approach to make them more effective. So again, considering the role of leadership development is very important. And when we talk about leading change, your book talks about Howard Schultz. As you know, recently, he's very seriously considering making a run for president of the United States. He has a different type of philosophy about leading change. And we're going to discuss that in this particular chapter. And we're going to go back to summarizing the role of the person and the organization that person interacts with in leadership development. So the quintessential question is, how do we create that legacy? How do we stick with it? How do we make it happen? And how do we retain a good culture so that it doesn't change over time and it's more consumed about making money than it is being successful? Well, it's been a pleasure working with all of you throughout this course, and I hope to see you in another one. Keep on leading. Keep on making a difference. Professor DeChico.